So let me tell you this story quickly.
Yeah,
The insects were playing the mammals in a football match,
right.
and every football match, uh, one of the players of the insects, the centipede, he was only ever brought on in the last minute of the game.
Mm,
And when they brought him on, he dribbled everybody, and he scored goals. He scored
yeah,
goals,
yeah,
and somebody asked the team manager, why is it a player that good? Why are you only bringing him on the 89th minute of the game? He said
yeah.
because the rest of the game is putting his boots on.
Oh, as my
So
daughter, yeah, yeah, yes, as my daughter would say, that is a real dad joke.
it is, yeah, it is a bad joke as well,
Yeah, bad dad
a
joke.
bad
Yes,
dad joke.
yes,
So talking about sports for
yeah,
all,
yeah,
an excellent idea, and as it should be.
mm,
However, it should also have its boundaries. Men for men's sport and women for women's would be a good start.
I think so. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Uh, and this is why I take my hat off to Fenix Football Club. It's a soccer team
Yeah,
in the fifth division of the Catalan League in Spain,
okay.
uh, heralding from the town of Sant Feliu de Llobregat, which is a little village, a little town
Mm,
outside in the outskirts of Barcelona somewhere.
okay.
The team is exclusively trans men and have decided to take on the task of competing in the almost, and I say almost,
Mm,
masculine division of soccer in that
yeah,
region.
right. Mm,
Uh, it's the first year of the club,
mm,
so they have to start at the bottom, as it were.
yeah,
Uh, in, like I said, Division 5 of the league. Yeah. The Catalan Football Federation said that it doesn't distinguish between genders or sexes, and some
mm,
women play in the men's league, albeit, they're few and far between.
yes, yeah.
But it's the fifth division of a remote
Mm.
league. I suppose anything's allowed.
Yes, yeah. Make the numbers up.
Uh,
Yeah,
but at least Phoenix Football Club has found
yeah,
its niche and is happy
yeah,
to play against other blokes in the
yeah,
sport everybody enjoys. What I think
yeah.
is interesting is that the players of Phoenix Football Club
Mm.
uh, realize that they are men going through a transition, and
Okay,
so
yeah,
identify themselves as that. You
yeah.
know, um, but anyway, good on them, top hole and all that.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, so how did the trans team fare with the bloke side in the maiden game in the first game?
Mm.
Well, of course, they got trounced 19 nil.
Okay. Okay.
But at least everybody left the field happy,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
But of course, perhaps we can see why some trans athletes want to invade the women's arena after all, because they can't. There's some people that won't accept 19 nil as being a result. So, and the
Mm.
thing is that the trans blokes didn't lose the game because they were trans.
Mm.
They lost the game because they were crap footballers.
Well, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
that's it. End of story. Yeah.
There's no, and I say to women sometimes, women they limit themselves in the sport
Yeah.
that they do,
Yeah.
and I say to women, I say, look, you have to forget that you're a woman.
Yeah.
You just have to think yourself as being a machine, a body,
Yeah.
and you've got to go to the limits of what your machine and what your body can do. If you start
Mm.
thinking about what if somebody sees my bum, what if somebody sees, a part of me
Mm.
that I'm really shy about, then you lose
Yeah.
it. Or if you think, if I punch somebody so hard,
Mm.
I'd lose my femininity. Femininity doesn't come into it.
No.
Right?
No.
You've just got to be, as they say in the Olympics, you've got to be longer, faster, higher, longer, faster. I think it's called.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
So they are short and sweet. Trans men 19-0 to zilch, and they're happy about it. The
mhm,
league's happy about it,
yeah,
and it just goes to show that it can be done.
they probably had a good, well, good time playing. Hopefully they'll improve as well. Because if they're just maiden game, just starting out as a team as well, yeah, they're going to know each other's strengths and weaknesses, as it were. I mean, same as anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna investigate them after this podcast, and yeah, just have a look because, in all respect for them, yeah, I wish them well. Genuinely wish them well. I hope they can improve. Um,
Trying to keep a positive spin on it. He's got something to build on.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Now, I mean, yeah, it's sport is as you quite rightly said. Yeah, okay, that's a separate issue. Keep men in men's sport, women in women's sport is different to others categories and everything else. Yeah, men are still physically better than or more, especially stronger than women in most cases. Okay, um, but it's a but yeah, getting back to the other point you made, there is a psychology when you're doing sport that I've got the build or did have the build sort of that could have been an athlete. I just didn't have the mental capacity to be a top flight person in football or running. I quite sprint. Just didn't quite have that cutting edge, probably mentally. And I acknowledge that. Yeah, it wasn't my strength. Maybe if I had a bit more, a bit better coaching, I could have done a bit better. But that's in the past and still comes down to me as an individual. If I wanted to do running and all that, I could have joined us. But it is yeah, I mean, I think it was Loughborough University in England, UK. They have a big section there about sports psychology, and I believe they're tied in with the uh, St George Centre, which is the FA's international football training place. So yeah, and I mean they did all the psychology, and it's the psychology behind winning as well. Which I'm going to dive onto this subject because yeah, trans redundant infinite, yeah. And it's always very important to be in the right place. Top flight athletes now, if you actually look at them, the way that they focus, they get in the zone, as it were now. And you see sprinters, Usain Bolt, for example, or a race, he's very relaxed. Just before the race, he knew his limit. He knew he was in that zone. And yeah, you sometimes see it. I mean, papers sometimes split up, sort of not split up, sometimes pick up a temper or gone crazy. That is exactly what they've done. Sometimes it's a bit of aggression. It's controlled aggression. And it's not new. I remember Paula Radcliffe years ago. She was a good runner, good distance runner. Didn't do well in a race. There was a husband one day who was also an athlete, not bad. And she went and pushed him away. He said something, he's trying to push him away and everything else. And people, oh, that's bad marriage. He understood exactly what she was going through. Yeah. And yeah, I believe they're still together. That's on everybody's relationship. Yeah. 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 And everything. The baby, unfortunately, yeah, she did was not quite the same after that. But yeah, but she always managed to get herself in the zone. Before a race, she was very boring to talk to. And as you said, at that point, she was Paula Radcliffe. She was the Paula Radcliffe, the athlete, going out to win. Yeah. And others. And race, okay, still a sport. They've still got to be physically fit and strong and be in the right mental place. Now, when we watch MMA, and when we watch sport with that, and I'm going to lead into something here, MMA, you look at those fighters. Sometimes you and I, when we're talking on WhatsApp, we say it doesn't look like he's up for it, or they're not. Look at his eye. You can sometimes tell for a guy's eyes if he has fear, if he had this, if they had that, concerned about something else. They come out making a big show of it. Okay, that's for the audience, yeah. But yeah, you can see that even at that point, you can tell who in fact is probably going to win from that point. Yeah, and as you said, okay, showman, look at me and all that. I mean, the playing for me is at the weigh-in. That's where you intimidate. But yeah, now when we talk about women and men in sport, there is this move to actually push women or men, trans men, into MMA, women's fighting. And we know what's going to happen there. People like you and I aren't going to watch it. Yeah. Um,
I might just to see a woman get absolutely thrashed.
well, yeah, but that's not why I watch it.
That's a misogynist would say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I do think on that level, it's totally ridiculous. Um, and again, with men and women's football, there was a thing of that Wrexham retirees took on the women's American women's soccer team, flight or second flight, I can't remember, but they and the women were all up for it. We're going to do you know, because we're still professionals and all that. Managed to do it. The 14-year-old boys, schoolboys, have beaten international women sides, Australia, the US. I forgot the one other one that managed it as well. The whole thing is ridiculous. So fair play, getting back to your Spanish side, fair play for these men who are still men, whatever their preferences are and everything else. And hey, I want everybody to be happy in life. That's exactly what I support. And I support anyone to have that as well. Yeah. And I hope those guys really enjoyed playing the game. Yeah. The opposition as well. I mean, yeah. So, yes, as you say, fair play to them. They've decided this is who we are. We may have a slightly different outlook on ourselves than other people, but we respect what it is. And cool, if they can move up the ranks, as it were, they're themselves. Yeah. And yeah. So well done, guys, and hopefully wish you all the best. Fenix, was it Fenix in Spain?
Fênix Football Club in Catalonia.
In Catalonia. Good luck, guys. All the best.